Hello everyone and welcome. This is my channel, The Holistic Enchilada, and I am Delilah. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit with this video. I kind of abandoned YouTube for a while and I haven't posted any videos in a while. So I'm going to start at the very beginning, and I am making this video for all the beginners. So in this video, I'm basically going to talk about the basics to the curly girl method, what you need to know to get started right now. Nothing technical, nothing crazy. So this is going to be for anybody who is overwhelmed, who doesn't understand, they don't know where to start. If you're feeling like you're frustrated, you're not quite sure, you don't know which products to use. If you're kind of having any of those ranges of emotions or thoughts, then this video is for you, and this is going to be very basic, just what you need to know to get started on the curly girl method right now. So I want you to watch this video and then don't watch anything else. Kind of absorb the information, do the things that I recommend in this video, kind of like work with your hair for a couple of weeks and try to understand your hair better, and then go on and start learning more about the curly girl method, more technical or advanced topics. So for right now, I'm just going to go over the basics. And I also have this all completely outlined in a blog post that is linked below. Everything that I'm going to talk about in this video is there, so you can bookmark that page or print it out and have it to reference very easily, so you don't have to come back to this video and kind of watch it to get all the tips. I'm basically going to talk about 6 different things. So first, the main thing, if you're going to get started on the curly girl method, you want to avoid 3 specific types of ingredients. You want to avoid all sulfates, and you're going to find those pretty much in cleansers like shampoos. So find a shampoo that doesn't have sulfates in it. Don't worry about anything else. And then the other ingredients you want to avoid are non-water soluble silicones, which I will list below. And this is because if you're not using sulfates, your shampoo that you're using now, which is sulfate free, is not strong enough to strip the silicones that most like conditioners have in them, because they're not water soluble and you don't have a sulfate to remove it. So you're going to have to eliminate any products that have those silicones in it, because they do build up on your hair, and if you're not washing them out, then your hair will start to get weighed down and dry out and just look very dull, and the curl your hair won't be as curly or look as nice as it can. So that's why you want to avoid silicone. And the third ingredient you want to avoid is drying alcohols. So silicones and drying alcohols you're going to find mostly in conditioners and styling products. So look for those in there. And like I said, sulfates are going to be in your shampoos and cleansing type products. So just check for those 3 types of ingredients. Don't worry about anything else. Just focus on that in the beginning. Don't spend a ton of money on new products. Get some cheap stuff. It doesn't matter. The products really are the least important thing to how well your hair is going to look. What you really want is just to eliminate those 3 ingredients, and then the whole process will get to work on your hair, and you'll see that your hair is going to start to transform. Second, you're going to want to stop brushing, which I know is difficult. It was hard for me to stop brushing. Especially my hair gets really knotted. I mean, it still does, especially under here. Like the knots are really bad. And now that I go longer between washes, it can get bad. But you just have to be a little more patient in the shower with your conditioner. And one thing that works really well for me is I put conditioner in my hair, and then I just let it sit. I just kind of like squish it in, get it all over, and then I let it sit and I soak up and do everything else. And that way a few minutes passes and your hair kind of absorbs the conditioner, softens it a bit, and then I can more easily go through my knots with my fingers. If I just put conditioner on and start going through knots with my fingers, I'm going to be there for half an hour and I'm going to be pulling out a lot of my hair. Try that if you have that problem where the knots are just really not working out for you. If you must, then use a comb. But really, if you're doing the curly girl method, you're not supposed to use any kind of brush at all. So third is no towels. This was very surprising and confusing for me to learn. So you don't want to use like the towel that you use on your body. You're not going to put that on your hair at all. What you're going to use is like an old t-shirt, or you can get like a hair towel. Usually like microfiber or flour sack, but really an old t-shirt is going to work best, and it's the cheapest option. I'm sure you've got plenty of old t-shirts lying around. And what you're going to do is you're going to dry your hair by putting the t-shirt underneath, and you're just going to squish up like this. That's it. There's no rubbing. There's no wrapping your hair up on top of your head. You don't want to do any of that, because all that is going to cause frizz or pull on your curls. So you're not going to have as great definition if you're using a regular towel or you're drying your hair improperly. Okay, fourth thing, and honestly, I think this is the most important, is to style your hair soaking wet. And this was probably the hardest for me to do. And I resisted this for probably about 2 years after I learned about the curly girl method and I started kind of doing the other things. I was still drying my hair with a hair towel. I would dry it like this, and then I would put my products in damp hair. That was not working. I thought it was working until I tried soaking wet, and I was like, wow, this is a huge difference. I should have been doing this from the beginning. So definitely you want to style your hair before you dry it with that hair towel or t-shirt. What you want to do is just get the product in your hands, and you want to kind of spread it all over and squish as much as you can up like this to distribute the product all over your hair. And as you squish, you're going to be squeezing out a lot of that water, so that when you get your towel to squish it up and get the rest of the water out, it's really not that much. You'll see. So spend a lot of time really squishing in your styling product. Like I said, I think this is the most important part of the curly girl method. And in my experience, now that I've been doing this for so many years, I can pretty much use any styling products and get the same results as long as I spend a lot of time squishing it in the shower before I dry my hair, because that really makes sure that you're getting the products evenly distributed everywhere, and you're adding moisture into your hair, and you're really encouraging that curl comb. As you squish it up, it encourages these little ringlets to form. So you'll notice when my hair is wet in the shower, it looks completely straight, and as I go and I'm squishing and squishing and squishing, it gradually starts to shrink, and by the time I'm done, you'll see it's pretty wavy. It doesn't really look curly when it's wet. But I think that's really the biggest, most important part of this whole method. If you're struggling with your definition and the way your hair looks, make sure you focus on the application method. And you're probably going to have to experiment with many different methods. There are methods that I've used back then, let's say a year or two ago, that worked and don't work for me now because my hair has changed. When I first started the curly girl method, I had really wavy hair. It was kind of like, let's see if I can find, usually this part under here is like the least, I mean, this is pretty curly, but maybe this hair curl right here. See how it's like not really curly, it's kind of wavy. My hair was mostly like this, a little straighter than this. And with time, it has gotten curlier. And you can see that I have like the top layer curlier. Most people have the opposite. They have it curlier on the inside, but I always had straight on the inside and wavy on top. So as my hair got curlier, that stayed. I mean, this is never going to be like my top layer. I know that. But it has changed a lot since I started the curly girl method. And so my application methods and products that I use have changed as well. So do keep that in mind. And then number 5 is no more heat. So you're going to have to lay off of the heat styling. And this was hard for me too, because I was one of those that I blow dried and then flat ironed my hair every single day for many years. It was rare that I left my hair curly. Usually if it was like raining and I knew it was going to be outside, then I wouldn't even bother straightening my hair because I knew it wasn't going to last. But yeah, no heat. So if you must use heat because maybe your hair takes like 12 hours to dry, or you just don't like having wet hair, that's me. I do use low heat with a diffuser, but that's totally not necessary. So if you need to, then that's at least do it on low heat. But no straightening your hair, no curling iron, none of that stuff. And then number 6, and this is a big one, is you're going to have a lot of patience. My hair looked terrible for probably the first year that I stopped straightening it and was wearing it curly consistently. It looked really bad. It was really puffy, frizzy. It didn't look anything like this. Not really curly at all. It was kind of just, it looked messy and dirty all the time. You kind of just have to push through that and just keep experimenting. I mean, there were wash days that I had that were great, but my hair also didn't last more than one day. Now I can go 3, 4, 5 days. I couldn't do that 2 or 3 years ago. There was no way. My hair looked good on wash day, and that was it. If it even looked good, because half the time it didn't. So you're really going to have a lot of patience, and I recommend following or looking up or interacting with other people who are doing the curly girl method, and especially looking at people who have already kind of transitioned, so you can see the before and after, and you see that there is hope, and eventually your hair is going to look better. But you're going to have a lot of patience. So you can't start this and then in 3 weeks throw in the towel because you don't like the way your hair looks. Figure out some hairstyles you can wear when your hair doesn't look that great. I did a lot of braids and side ponytails, loose buns, low loose buns, that kind of stuff. If you can get away with a hat, yeah, hats don't look good on me, so I never did that, but I know some people do. So yeah, you're gonna need some tricks to kind of get through the transition, and that can last anywhere from weeks to months. So just be aware that that is part of the process in the beginning, especially if you were using really harsh products before. Your hair is going to be greasy for a couple of weeks. It's just going to be like in shock. So it's not going to look good at first. Don't expect that you're going to go out and buy all these curly girl proof products. You're going to wash your hair and come out of the shower and it's going to dry and look great. That's not how it happens. So be realistic with your expectations. Have patience. Also understand that your hair has been mistreated for a very long time, so it's going to take time to recover from that. Like I said, my hair was really wavy before, now it's curly, and even in the last year it has continued to curl more, and that's what I've been doing the curly girl method for like 5 or 6 years now. So it's definitely a long journey, very long process. If your hair is wavy, don't expect it to look like this within 3 or 4 months. It can happen, but most likely it's not. Most likely, if you have wavy hair, it's just going to get a little wavier. Maybe it'll get slightly curly, but it's rare that your hair goes from mostly wavy to curly. That's just not how it is. So, like I said, be realistic and have patience. And then some bonuses. If you want to make things slightly easier, there are a couple of things that you can do, but these are not necessary. Okay, so like a silk pillowcase or a satin pillowcase help a lot with frizz and maintaining your curls. So I didn't do this until maybe within the last year, and I can go a lot longer between washes because my hair is not getting ruined overnight. A hair buff is another option, cheaper than the other two, and I do both because it just works better for me since I have long hair and it sticks out of the buff. Having the pillowcase is kind of like my backup. The hair just glides around, so it doesn't frizz, it doesn't tangle as much, so it really does help if you want to. Like I said, totally unnecessary though, you don't need it. A diffuser is also great, especially if you need volume or you have really wavy hair, or pretty much you have wavy hair and you want it to kind of curl a little more. That's how I get these ringlets. I put my hair in the diffuser to dry it and I just push it up, and that really encourages these tighter types of curls. If I air dry, my hair is not as springy. I mean, it looks almost the same, but it's not as springy and it's a little flatter, so I get less volume. But that can help you, speeding up drying time, especially if you get ready in the mornings. I do my hair at night because I like to sleep. But if you have to go to work and you can't be waiting for your hair to dry, then a diffuser is a big help. So don't worry about deep conditioning and clarifying and rice treatments and protein and all that other stuff. Doesn't really matter. Your curl type also doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what your curl type is. Guess what? My hair was 2B 5 years ago, and now my hair is 2C3A. It doesn't matter. I've been using the same products for the last 3 or 4 years now. So that stuff is not important. Once you kind of get the basics down and you're starting to do your wash day routines and you're kind of understanding how to style your hair, then you can start looking into when to clarify, what to look for in a clarifying shampoo, when to deep condition, looking into more specific ingredients. Some ingredients are better for certain hair types than others. But right now, you really need to worry about that, just the basics, the 6 things that I mentioned. And then once you have those, you can go into the more advanced topics, like I said before. So, like I said, everything is written in a blog post. I have links below, so you can check that out there. And I also have a quick start guide to getting started on the curly girl method. It's a 10-page guide that goes into more depth into what I talked about today, and it has all the ingredients that you should avoid and the whole step, like what to do on wash day. So you can download that as well. I have that linked below. And if you like this video and you want lots more tips on curly hair and clean beauty, then please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.